Hey lovelies, we're into chillier weather in London. It's starting to feel nice, autumnal, lovely, and quite Christmassy to be honest, because the Christmas lights are up all over London. That's always a really fun time of year. I've already overdosed on Christmas sandwiches and stuff, so I'm gonna have to reel it back so I don't ruin all the delicious Christmas flavours in December. But anyway, so this week I I didn't start with this one because I didn't wear it at the weekend. I wore this to work, but I'm going to start with talking about this guy because I wore the EGT last week. So this week it was chill enough to wear this delicious baby. I actually have a small dent in this one, and this is one I got from New. So this is a Burberry Brit, and this is the EDP formulation. Let's have a sniff. Oh my gosh, so delicious. I really like Brit. I really love this EDP, in fact, and I actually really enjoyed wearing the EDT as well. So this just generally is a perfume that I enjoy. Let's not blind you with that reflection. So just to point out also that before I bought this bottle, I bought this rollerball. So I'm halfway through this because this is the one that I take to work. So I think this is what does that say? 7.5 ml. So I'm halfway through this one because this is a little one I take to top up with. And this is the one I spray on in the morning. And it's just such a lovely scent. And as soon as it starts getting colder, I find it easy to wear. I find this one, and it's interesting because wearing it this time, I was trying to work out what it was about this that meant that I don't love wearing the EDP in warmer weather. And I think, so I really love this. And I have to say, if you watched my video from Friday about the Kate Spade Sparkle, I feel like I irritated some people with that. I don't think I realised quite how popular it was. But I did say that one smells like poison, right? Because it has all of the aroma chemicals in that I personally don't like and just smell toxic to me, right? But I think there's a couple of Burberrys that I've smelt, and definitely this, where I do feel like there's probably some of the aroma chemicals in here that can irritate other people, because I have a feeling you could sort of describe this as not smelling very natural. There's definitely something in here that has a little bit of maybe a slightly chemically smell, right? But it's one that I love, so it's not the kind of like aroma chemicals that bother me that are in here. But I do think that probably some people would find this a bit headache inducing, and I think probably that's why in warmer weather this one is definitely going to give me a headache. But in cooler weather, oh my goodness, it's so delicious. So this is like a pear, lime and almond perfume. I think maybe the lime is part of what people would struggle with here, because it's not the most natural smelling lime, it has to be said. But I think it's so yummy. So the notes in the original Burberry: almond, lime and pear in the top. Then in the mid there's candied almond, sugar and peony. Base notes: vanilla, tonka bean, amber and mahogany. Also very possible that in the warmer weather I get more of that peony, because the note, whatever the note is that is supposed to be peony, I often find that quite screechy and a bit headachy. But in the colder weather this was so gorgeous, and I really like both of them. I'm really happy to have both of them, because this is definitely going to be, this is for cold weather. The EDT I'm going to wear in warmer weather when I get the craving for the general Burberry Brit profile. Because this really, it starts zingy, you get that yummy lime, but it's not too bitter. And then you've got a really juicy, sweet pear. And then you have a creamy, candied almond and vanilla in the base. So, it's that lovely thing that I really like again, that's that combination of tonka and vanilla, so it gets that kind of custardy smell that I like when those two things are combined. And again, you've got mahogany. And I think that, again, the warmer the weather, the more mahogany comes out in it. But I think it's so yummy. I really loved wearing it. I liked reapplying it. I couldn't get enough of how I smelt in it. All of my clothes smelt delicious. It It's funny because when I wear it in cold weather, it doesn't feel like a beast anymore. It just feels like a totally normal, easy to wear perfume. But when I smell this in warm weather, and when I have tried to wear it in warm weather, it feels like an absolute beast. So yeah, I mean, it's just a perfect autumn winter perfume. So yummy. It's kind of got a coziness to it, but at the same time, it's not like, it's because of that zingy lime. It's still bright and it's fun. It's not like, it doesn't feel too thick. It's just delicious. So at the weekend, I was on a pear kick, to be fair. So I always smell this. I always try to smell it from the bottle and I can't smell it. So I'm going to just give it a tiny spray. I try not to spray it out too much because it's discontinued. Oh God, I friggin' love this perfume. I nearly F-bombed then. So Valentino, Donna, Aqua. And again, like, wearing these so close to each other, this has a more kind of slightly tropical floral smell from that frangipani that's in it. But at the same time, I think there's a really kind of shared DNA with the pear and the almond here. This one's definitely sweeter. It doesn't have that citrusy zing. It doesn't have the woods and stuff, but there's something so heavenly about it. And I think it's the only Valentino I've smelt that doesn't have at least one of the aroma chemicals in that I don't like. This one I just find very, very pretty and extremely easy to wear. Just love Donna Aqua. So as I've said before, I think Brit is actually quite a good alternative to this. In fact, I think either of the Brits, but I feel like this is a bit more creamy, which matches up with this, because I think this has like a sun-dried tonka or a roasted tonka or something in it. So it's got that lovely kind of almond and sweet creaminess, and then a lovely juicy pear. So they definitely have some crossovers, and they're both an absolute joy to wear. It's just that Valentino Donna has a sort of more of a lightness to it, which means, and it doesn't last very long, which means it kind of is good all year, really, as long as you're good with the sweetness. But yeah, generic perfumes have an oil dupe of this, which is definitely not identical, but is close enough that, like, I wouldn't like replace this with it, but it's one that I'm happy to wear, and it still gives me a bit of, it gives me the same vibe. It's pretty good. It's not identical, but it's pretty good. So this one, I mean, I've just got the Fragrantica notes here, which aren't entirely, well, it's not that they're not correct, I don't think. It's just they don't have the same stuff that it says on the carded sample for this. But here it says almond and pear in the top, mid notes frangipani and jasmine, and then base notes sandalwood and hawthorn. It doesn't mention sandalwood, hawthorn, or jasmine. I think it's like green almond, and crystallized pear, frangipani, rose accord, and roasted tonka, I think is what it says on the carded sample. And it's truly like a heavenly smell. I just really love that one. Let's see. Oh, yes. And then I had a fussy few days. Like, I got a little bit fussy. And so I was trying to reach for a couple of things that were just going to be like really easy for me to wear, and I didn't have to think about it too much. Like, I kept sniffing things and being like, oh no. Everything had that kind of slightly chemical or overwhelming vibe for me. Sometimes I just get that. Sometimes I'm just like, my nose just gets mega fussy for a couple of days per month, which I'm sure is something to do with my cycle. But I took one sniff of this and I was like, of course, it's so easy to wear. This is genuinely a perfect all year round perfume. I think the only time I don't wear this is in like super high heat, because it's very musky. So it has like a bar soapy musk that then makes it a little bit overwhelming. Guess Dare. She's a beaut. She is another one that I bought new, and I've got this quite a good dent in because it's one of my absolute favourites. I just think this is such a delicious perfume. It's almost veering towards being unisex, in that although I think it smells really beautiful and I feel very beautiful and I feel quite feminine in it, it's not really like a very like super girly perfume. It's just, there's something magical about this one. This is the original Guess Dare. It normally has a different lid to this. This is a tester bottle, so it's got a funny lid. I've got a backup of this because I absolutely love it. So this is top notes of kumquat, pear blossom and lemon blossom in the top, and then the mid notes are cactus flower, jasmine and wild rose. Base notes are musk, woody notes, and coconut. Oh, I mean, it doesn't smell like coconut, but there's something about the musk mixing with that coconut that gives it a creamy feel. You've got these, it smells like spring florals and kumquat, which is quite an unusual smelling fruit. I don't really know about cactus flower. I can definitely sense there's a bit of jasmine in this. I wouldn't have guessed there was rose. But it's just a very easy wear. It's really comfy. It makes me feel yummy. I love how I smell in this. My husband really likes this perfume a lot. He thinks this one's sexy. And actually, I think someone commented on one of my videos when I was talking about this and said it's the sexiest perfume he's ever smelt. So it's just, I just love it. I just love it. Possibly an acquired taste, but I think it's beautiful. Where am I going to go from here, guys? Oh, yeah. I might have to do these in a slightly different order. How am I going to fit these on? Or I'm possibly going to have to swap something around. Let's swap something around. I'm going to move this one down here to go over in this corner. And then I'm going to move these along. And I'm going to add something else in. So, this guy, hopefully I won't cut the top off when I put it up there. I haven't worn this perfume for a really long time, and I was thinking about it because last week I was talking about Adam Levine for Her, and I was talking about the fact that I really love marigold notes. And although Adam Levine for Her is just too strong, it's a little bit too woody for me. It's almost too woody spicy. It's like too classic smelling. It doesn't suit me. But I love the marigold note in that perfume, and I wish that I could just kind of pull that out and put it in a lighter perfume, you know. But I do have two perfumes with marigold in, and this is one of them. This is Brocard Colour Feeling. I'm sorry to say that you can't really get this in the UK anymore because this is a Russian brand, and very unfortunately the sanctions are still going, so we can't get Brockard perfumes over here, or probably anywhere in the world at the moment outside of Russia. I've never smelled anything that smells like this perfume. It's just, there's something very special about this one, in my humble opinion. And it always makes me think about the Mexican Day of the Dead, like the celebrations, because this is, I mean, I always think of orange, you know, bright orange, beautiful marigolds when I think about that celebration. And this is spicy. It's juicy and fruity and citrusy. It's just, I don't know, there's a dryness in this. It's kind of hard to describe. So the notes, they haven't got a structure written down here, but it's just marigold, orange and amber. Ground cherry, which I think we call Phyllis here. Mango, chili pepper, saffron, iris, citron, sandalwood, cedar, patchouli and rose. Now, it has this kind of dry dustiness that you get with things like turmeric, if that is a good way to kind of explain the texture I get with this. But it's really nicely balanced by the fact that it has mango and then a lot of very juicy orange. So there is, I mean, it does smell orange, and then you've got this fantastic marigold in it. I think the iris is probably making, and the amber, to be fair, is making this powdery too. But it's juicy and it's zingy, and there is a slight warm spicy feel about it, but then it's very citrusy and a little bit floral. I feel like the patchouli is making this quite earthy as well, and it is quite an earthy perfume. But yeah, well, this massive bottle of it, and I don't know if I wore it last year, but it's pretty magical, this one. I do think it's quite a unique and interesting perfume, and I'm very happy to have it. And I had the Brocard Colour Feeling Red, which I feel was like a very similar perfume to this, but was cherry instead of the mango and orange. So it still had like quite a similar feel to it. I thought it had quite a similar scent. So I didn't feel like I needed both. I think that one was spicy as well, if I remember correctly. So I ended up selling that one on eBay, and I hope whoever bought it is absolutely loving it. But yeah, so I just decided that this was the one for me because I don't have many orange perfumes. Oh, so delicious. Speaking of orange perfumes, I've seen on, I think it was on Instagram, so Lush are going to be bringing out some of the community specials. They're bringing Super Milk perfume out again. So if you guys missed it, then I think it's going to be right at the end of the month that they're coming out on the app. I think maybe it's like the 28th or 29th or something like that. But I think they might be coming to store this time. Don't quote me on that because I haven't seen anything official from Lush yet. But the thing that I noticed that I'm very excited about, they are bringing out yuzu and cocoa. Maybe it's yuzu and cacao. They're bringing that one out as a body spray. So I have a little pen spray perfume of that, and I do think it is like a delicious chocolate orange. That's what it smells like. It makes me think of Christmas. I am definitely going to be getting myself the body spray of that because the perfume is very strong, to be fair, as a lot of the, especially older perfumes from Lush are. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about some in a minute. They're just really quite strong. So I just love that. It is what I wanted Hugo Boss Private. Is it called Private Accord? I can't remember. The one that's a chocolate orange from the Scent for Her range, which I had, but it just sort of dried down to be a bit too vanillic, and the orange didn't stick around. But my goodness, if you like the idea of chocolate orange, then get your hands when it comes out on a bottle of Lush yuzu and cocoa, because it is just mwah, chef's kiss. So anyway, let's move on, because I think my next things I'm going to talk about are actually Lush. So here they are, guys. Wicked times Lush. This is Elphaba Thropp. Is that how you say it? Sorry guys, I don't know anything about Wicked. Really cool bottle though, as you can see. Look, awesome. So there's that one, and then I also got this one. So this is Glinda Upland. So I guess that's supposed to be the Good Witch and the Wicked Witch, right? So, as I suspected I would, and just generally in life, the Wicked Witch one is far more interesting to me here. So, I wore this one on Friday. So I've given this one a full wear test because this came out on the 11th of November, and I went to Lush specially because this whole range came to store, except this one wasn't there, not because they'd sold out, but because they hadn't had any delivered. And when I spoke to the lady, she said they were all a bit gutted because they'd been expecting it, but she thought it was so popular that maybe they just didn't have enough stock to send it. So I had to order this one. So I smelt this one online. I smelt this one in real life. I sprayed it on my skin, and then I went off into the world. And then once I had been smelling it on myself on the way home, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to get a bottle of this one. This one was a blind buy. So I'm going to start with, I keep forgetting, Elphaba probably sounds more sensible. So Elphaba is sort of a green vanilla, which is my vibe, but I struggle to call this a green vanilla because this is a classic Lush mixture of tonka, or maybe coumarin actually, and vanilla. So it's very kind of sugary, almost candy sweet, like a kind of like American cream. So if I give you, all right. So the actual notes, because again, Fragrantica don't have all of the notes here. This little baby is Hiba wood oil. I don't really know what Hiba wood is. Hiba, I'm not sure. Cedarwood absolute, vanilla absolute, Sicilian lemon oil, pink pepper oil, cardamom absolute, coumarin, and oak moss extract. So my understanding is that coumarin is actually sweeter than tonka bean, although I think they might be from the same plant, but I think coumarin is the more intense version of tonka. So, I mean, let me know if I'm if I'm very wrong about that, but I feel sure that I watched someone talking about it. So this, when you first spray it, you do get that citrus, so you do get the lemon, you get a lot of the woods, and you get the sort of slightly piney Christmas tree smell from the cedarwood absolute as well. So you've got this green, aromatic, foresty scent that's really quite zingy and lemony and citrusy with a little bit of woodiness. And there is that classic kind of slightly musty smell that you would get in a forest. So when I first spray it, I think that's when it's most challenging, probably. And then it dries down and you get this sweetness coming through. I think I said in the review, it then turns into a candy store lined with cedarwood, because it really is a sugary sweetness. It's not just a vanilla. It's not like Lord of Misrule. And although I think that one, I think that one has coumarin as well, but that one comes across to me more like an actual vanilla. Like, it's more vanillic to me than this. This is more sugary. It's got vanilla in it, but it's a lot of coumarin, I'd say. So it's so fun. It's really nice to wear. The scent bubble around me was so lovely. I just put my top that I was wearing yesterday into the laundry basket and it smells so good still. This is quite strong and it lasts for hours and hours and hours and hours. I really didn't need to keep topping this up. I topped it up, I think, well, mainly because I liked it. I put a little bit more on my wrists, maybe at lunchtime, so I'm after like 4 hours or something. And then when I went round to my friend's house in the evening, I topped it up before I went to hers. But like I said, like on clothes, it lasts forever. And I can show you actually, because I wore it to work, I put it in a little decant. You can see how dark this liquid is. Let me put it here. Now that's a body spray. Now, people were complaining about the price of this. I do realise that in other countries this is more expensive than it is in Lush, because obviously in the UK, because Lush is a UK company, they make it all here, I think. So it's obviously going to be more expensive, and also the exchange rates, right? I think the exchange rate for the UK and the US at the moment is I think it's like 50 something there. But this was £40, not a small chunk of change overall, but this is 200 ml. So if you think that you were going to buy like the normal size of like a perfume, because this performs at least like in a modern EDT, if you were going to get a 100 ml bottle for half of this for £20, then that's a perfectly decent price. People like the Fleur body sprays, and I'm sure that they're quite expensive. But yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. When I poured it in here, I spilt some on my hands. I could feel the oils in it. These are pretty strong. They're quite concentrated, and they are, well, this one's quite natural smelling. I mean, if you don't like green stuff, you're not going to like it, but the dry down here is something magical. Yeah, and in fact, even just smelling it from here, I've got kind of a mixture of when you first spray it and the deep dry down. And it is sugary and it's pretty and it's really interesting. I think this is a really interesting and nice perfume. It smells like Lush. It definitely still smells like Lush, but it's really good. So then if we move on to Glinda, this one I have tried on my skin. Yeah, okay, I've also got it on the strip. So yeah, because typically I went back in to pick this up and they had them then, but I went back in to pick them up and then I bought this at the same time, you see. So Glinda. Now, it doesn't smell very good on the strip, I have to say. It hasn't really developed as much as it did on skin, for me personally anyway. This one, I think it's kind of... I forgot to mention, before I go on to what am I talking about? This has been compared to Eilish No. 3, and I don't know if it's come out yet, but I have had a sample of Eilish No. 3, and I have actually made a video with a review of that, so that will be coming up at some point. But this does definitely have a little bit of an overlap with Eilish No. 3, but I think it's so much nicer and easier to wear. So I quite liked Eilish No. 3, but it does smell a little bit more like a Christmas tree, and that Christmas tree feeling never really goes away from it. It's quite sweet. And I can't remember if that has vanilla in the base, but it is kind of like a vanilla-y Christmas tree sweet perfume. A bit woody, a bit, unisex. This one I think is more feminine, but only in the dry down. So when you first spray it, I definitely think it has that Eilishy No. 3 smell. But then this dries down and you get the kind of candy, and it's not quite as piney, it's not quite as resinous, it's not quite as Christmas tree like. So the other thing it is a little bit similar to is a much more expensive perfume from And Fragrances by Simon Constantine, ex Lush perfumer. And he's got one from the And range called Bear. And that one smells like a slightly vanillic Christmas tree. So I wore that one last year. But again, this is the easiest to wear out of any of them. It's the nicest one, I think. It's the most feminine. And it's the best value, I would say, as well. Like, so this is the fave. Now, where was I? Let's go back to Glinda. So Glinda, I'll give you the notes for this because again they haven't got all of them on Fragrantica. This has rose oil, Parma rose oil or Parma rosa oil, sesame seed absolute, vanilla absolute, almond oil, orris, benzoin and coumarin. So again you've got that classic vanilla and coumarin combination, so it's got a really nice sweetness in the base, although somehow this one smells more candy like to me, so I feel like the concentration here of the coumarin is and maybe the vanilla is higher than it is in this one. This one does have a creaminess in the dry down from that almond oil. I think there's also supposed to be pistachio in this, and I don't think I'd have guessed that there was pistachio specifically, but I do get that slightly creamy vibe that you get from almond in this kind of thing, you know, so it has a bit of that. But it's very, very rose forward. This is a rose perfume for sure. And it's that same citrusy rose that you get in Rose Jam from Lush. So this to me smells like rose jam mixed with a little bit of creamy candy, also from Lush. So this is an interesting one because on my skin, the more it dried down, the more I liked it, because that's when the slight creaminess and the slight sweetness came out. I wouldn't have guessed there was sesame in this. I don't think there's so much that's going to bother anyone. It does have I guess actually thinking about it, when it dries down maybe more, it's got a little hint of that kind of Turkish delighty vibe that I quite like. So this for me, this is a good one to kind of embrace the Lush Rose, because the Lush Rose often gives me a headache. It's given me a headache in Rose Jam. It gives me a headache in Amelie May, and in the newer one called No Way to Say Goodbye, which is the blackcurrant, that has the same rose in it. So the Lush Rose is really, really noticeable. When you first spray this, it doesn't smell great. It's got that rose jammy feel to it, but then if you spray it on your skin, you let it dry down, that's when the sweetness comes through. So it is a sweeter, creamier version of something like rose jam, to me anyway. That's how I'm smelling this, and that's really good for me because I've only got one of the little solid perfumes of rose jam, because rose jam body spray and perfume both make me feel a bit queasy. They give me a headache, and the rose, there's something about it that's really, really pungent and powerful to me. This does have that same rose, but it's really tempered by the slightly creamier almond. And it's the same kind of almondy feel you get in the base of Space Girl. And I really like how Space Girl dries down. So, I mean, I do not need a 200ml bottle of this. Like, I wish I could get a smaller version of this. But what I might end up doing, even though I think the bottle is, like, again, super, super cool, it might just be that this is the one that I take a decent decant from, and then I pass on the rest of the bottle. But we'll see how I get on with it, because I haven't given this a full day's wear test yet. So you'll probably see this again next week, and I'll tell you how I got on with actually like wearing it for a long time. So yeah, but it's lovely. But for me personally, this is by far the winner. It is the most interesting. I don't think it smells like anything else from Lush, really. It does kind of smell like loads of different things all mixed together from Lush, but I think the general creation of it is quite a different smell. So you've got kind of Guardian of the Forest from Lush, which is a body spray that's very foresty, does literally smell like a forest. It's very unisex, leaning masculine to me. So it has like a little soupçon of that. You do get the pink pepper in it, so it's quite spicy for a little, goes through like a little stage of being quite spicy. And then And then you've got that kind of creaminess and the yumminess. But again, this doesn't remind me of Lord of Misrule, which is the green, the masterpiece level green vanilla from Lush. This has quite a different feel. This is a very candied, sweet, more girly, more fun version. Lord of Misrule feels quite serious and earthy, and I can't wait to wear that one again. I'm waiting for colder weather. Sorry to say we've got another Lush one, so sorry if you're bored of Lush, but I haven't worn this one for a while either. But on my fussy, I had 2 days, I think, when I was feeling super fussy, and this was one, and the other one. I often reach for this when I am having a real fussy day. There's something so magical about this. Shade from Lush, which is a sandalwood perfume, and it is definitely an acquired taste. I was reading some of the reviews on this on Fragrantica. A lot of people really do not like Shade. It's because it's like kind of incensey, I think. So it's not just sandalwood, although I think they only say sandalwood and olibanum, but this has compounds in it that are citrusy. It has like a lavendery note. It's got, I feel like there is something ever so floral going on in here, but it's just, I don't know why I find this so easy to wear when I'm in that kind of mood. When I'm feeling fussy, I spray it out and it has like a slightly, again, I say it because it's really hard for me to describe, because it's not that it's medicinal and it's not necessarily that it's aromatic. It's that thing you get with essential oils like lavender and things like that. It smells like an apothecary kind of natural smell. And then the more it dries down, you get this amazing sweetness. Again, I don't know if there's like coumarin or tonka or something in here, but it seems like it's probably got something amazing in it. What's it got? I'm just trying to see. Yeah, there you go, coumarin. Okay. And coumarin, like I said, it has this kind of almost sugary sweetness to it. So this dries down to be just a very lovely natural sandalwood. And it does have a slightly dry tone to it, but then you've got this lovely, again, I mean, I'm going to have to say aromatic, because I can never quite think of a perfect word. If any of you know what I'm trying to say about how lavender smells, then put it down in the comments. But it has that lovely lavender. It's really calming and soothing. And then it has the olibanum. So you get this very gentle smokiness. I've said before that there is a tone here that slightly reminds me of Covet by Sarah Jessica Parker. And that always makes me think of a honeysuckle. So in terms of feeling like there's a tiny bit of a floral smell here, something like a very sweet honeysuckle is the kind of thing I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think I wrote in my review that it's like, I said, it's on my skin, starts with a strong lavender and citrus smell, dries down to smell like honeysuckle, sandalwood and tonka, with a hint of a lavender incense stick smouldering in the background. And it is soft, it doesn't have lots of projection, but it is a beautiful thing to wear when I'm feeling either rough or fussy. There's something, it is a very, very, very pretty skin scent to me, and this might just be because it works really nicely on my skin, because when I smelt it, the first time I ever smelt it in Lush, and I smelled it on card, I was like, ew, gross. And then I put it on my skin and I was like, I have to have it. I can't not have that. So yeah, I mean, you know, different strokes for different folks. I'm trying to make this look pretty. I don't want to hide that lovely bottle back there. I love it. So the last thing to talk about, how long have I been talking? Oh, it's going to be a long one today. So I think I mentioned this again for some reason. I was talking about it. And so I just decided to wear it. And my husband always likes this. And he was like, oh, you smell yummy today. In fact, he came into the kitchen and I had put on some of this Nuaim chocolate musk. And this is the oil. And he came into the kitchen. He said, oh, something smells nice in here. And I was just basically washing up and getting ready to make something. And he said, oh, is that you? And he came and smelled me. He said, oh, it is you. And it is yummy. But this is also a perfect example of how different people's noses are, because you know, and as I was saying in my Friday video about that Kate Spade perfume, people just smell things so differently, perceive things differently. Sometimes people think something smells cheap or chemically, that other people really love, and vice versa. So this is a perfect example of that, because I've seen Sarah May's talking about this, although she did have the body spray, so possibly the body spray doesn't smell the same, but she thought this smelled cheap and nasty and gross, but she really likes the Al Rehab Choco Musk. Whereas I and my nose are completely the opposite. I hate Al Rehab Choco Musk. I think that smells like a cheap, weird vanilla, like a plastic vanilla. Whereas this one I think smells like kind of toffee with a little hint of something chocolatey in it. And again, it's interesting because I'd be interested to know whether this is also because the Al Rehab one doesn't smell anything like British chocolate to me. Like it's not creamy. It doesn't have so maybe it's more of like that Hershey's, because American chocolate's not for me. And maybe this is just a more recognizable smell from like from British candy. I said British candy. We don't call things candy. British sweets. Someone in my comments actually said that this reminds them of chocolate eclairs, or toffee eclairs, I should say, which are the little chewy toffee sweets that have the chocolate inside. A favourite of grandmas and grandpas everywhere back in the day. They used to pull my teeth out and I loved them. Yeah, I'm sure people have lost fillings to the toffee eclairs. But it has that feel. I think it smells like a Rolo dessert. It's delicious. Interestingly, though, I've had this for a long time now. It's been sitting. I got a little bit more of what they describe on the website where I got the notes from, which I can't remember what it's called, but if you search for this, you'll find it. I think it's called Anubis Perfumes or something like that. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit more of something very joyous here, so I'm going to read it to you and then I'm going to point out what I was really picking up this time. This might just be because it's been sitting and I've had this for years now, or it might just be that my nose is a bit more attuned to like notes and the nuances and stuff. Who knows? But this says symphony of gourmet aromas, darkly seductive cocoa with caramel vanilla and chocolate praline. Chocolate accords, blah, 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 blah. Vanilla powdery trail. Orange blossoms wrapped in fragile purity and sweetly full ylang ylang, hiding banana nuances. So, I got the ylang ylang this time, and I do get the banana nuances. And I'd never really thought about it before when I've worn it, because I was mainly just getting the caramelly smells, the sweetness, the vanilla, the praline, and the cocoa, or the chocolate, I should say. And this time I'm getting a banana-y feel and a slight floral feel, and it's not really orange blossomy and it's not going soapy. It still smells very gourmand, this one, to me, but just a hint of ylang ylang, which is what is smelling banana-y. Yeah, there's just a hint of banana this time, but it's not like sour, it's not weird, it's yeah, it was fun, but it's so sweet. It's one that I don't tend to wear out the house. I was just wearing it around the house. And to be honest, it was still not quite cold enough for me to really appreciate this. It was a little bit sweet. And also it lasts forever, so you never need to top this up. I put it on in the morning. I could still smell it when I went to bed. So this one is good. I really like it. So that's Al Nuaim Chocolate Musk. I think you can get it in spray perfume form now, because when I was looking for the notes, because again, still, they haven't got any Al Nuaims on Fragrantica, even though I have put it into the forum. For some reason, just not on there. But I'm pretty sure you can now get this in a body spray form. You can get it in the oil, and you can get it in a perfume spray. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it, although it's all I need. It's really, really very gourmand, very sweet, very yummy, and has a bit of a banana vibe in it, which is rather delicious. So now it's like a Rolo dessert with a slice of banana in, and I am very happy about that. So let's put these little guys at their coolest. So cool. But I mean, this is yeah, that's more my kind of vibe. What can I say? I just think that one's cool. I think it's a cooler bottle. I think it's a more interesting perfume. But of course, this pink one is the one that is popular. But yeah, if you don't like rose, you're not going to like this. If you don't like rose jam, if you really don't like rose jam, you're still not going to like this. If you like rose jam like I do, but you can't wear it, so if you're feeling more like that, this I found when I had it on my skin, just the one spray, quite wearable. I will update you next week if I wear it to let you know how I've done in a whole day of it. But yeah, I mean, I think they're both nice enough to warrant buying if you're a Lush perfume fan. But yeah, definitely this is the best one. And oh, delicious, 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 delicious. Can't get it anymore in the UK. Can't get it pretty much anywhere, unfortunately. But these you can all still get, and they're really good. And I didn't wear anything that I didn't like this week. I just thought they were all lovely. Everything I've worn. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of my subscribers. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed and you like listening to me ramble on, then please do consider subscribing, because it makes a massive difference to my channel. I hope that everyone has had a lovely week, and I'll be back next Sunday for my next batch. Bye guys.